Next on the news. These Catholic school kids have a lot to cheer about. A double celebration, a traditional snow day, and the beginning of Catholic Schools Week. We're celebrating Catholic academies across the Diocese of Brooklyn, starting with one Queens school whose students are always at the head of the class. Chaos in Minneapolis, another ICE-involved shooting, and Catholic leaders continue to call for peace. Plus this.
We have gone in this country through periods of nativism. Mother Cabrini saw that firsthand.
The timeless message from the patroness of immigrants, how it continues to resonate today. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. The Diocese of Brooklyn is blanketed by more than a foot of snow today, and that means a snow day for many of our Catholic academies. Take a look at the pure joy that erupted at St. Joseph the Worker in Windsor Terrace when students heard the big announcement.
We will be having a traditional snow day on Monday.
Do you remember those days? For some of these kids, this may actually be their first one. They're a lot rarer now with remote learning taking their place. But for these students, the classic snow day made a comeback, and the excitement says it all. Plus, the timing couldn't be better. It's one of the best weeks of the year, Catholic Schools Week. Even with the winter weather, we're still proudly celebrating the faith, academics, and strong sense of community that shine no matter the forecast. We begin tonight with Currents News reporter Jessica Easthope and one especially exceptional school in Forest Hills, Queens.
All right, time to line up, please.
When students at Our Lady Queen of Martyrs Catholic Academy in Forest Hills are lined up against their peers, the competition heats up, and these kids come out on top.
We like the results, but we're not about results. Success for us is not a number.
Principal Ann Zuschlag is talking about the results of the New York State assessment. The Diocese of Brooklyn outperformed New York City public schools in all grades and subjects. Our Lady Queen of Martyrs was in a league of their own. For English language arts, 55% of 7th graders in New York City met proficiency. That rose to 68% in the Diocese of Brooklyn. At Our Lady Queen of Martyrs, it was 100%. In math, NYC scored a 58%. The Diocese of Brooklyn scored a 66%, and Queen of Martyrs was again at 100%.
I think very much as a part of a culture of reaching for each child's individual excellence and recognizing it early and supporting it as we move along.
Olivia? 8th grader Olivia Machong, who got a perfect score on math and a near perfect score on ELA, says her teachers prepared her for the challenge.
They make sure you understand the concept. If you don't get it, the next day you come back and say, I didn't understand this concept, and they'll gladly explain it to you.
Inside the classrooms at Queen of Martyrs, there's a system. Teacher Jenny Haddock says every kid who needs help knows they can ask.
More than academics, it's more of having them feel comfortable with who they are and comfortable to say, I need help, I don't get this. Everyone's really, really invested in the kids.
And Olivia says that investment has allowed her to soar academically.
If you already think you're at like a max level, they expand that horizon even more.
There's no secret method. Principal Zuschlag calls it a new old school approach.
We're always accepting and wanting the coaching, learning new strategies, but we also follow old standards. You know, when work is due, it's due.
At Our Lady Queen of Martyrs, learning isn't just a test.
They always have a smile on their face, they laugh. It's better to learn in that way.
It's a joy. In Forest Hills, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
That's a great look at the academic excellence happening inside our Catholic schools. And while today's winter weather forced some of Bishop Robert Brennan's visits to be rescheduled, we're hoping to be back on the road tomorrow, following the bishop to local Catholic academies as students and staff show off all they do best. We'll have continuing coverage all week long on the tablet and Currents News. Bishop Robert Brennan has named Father Peter Purpura as the next chancellor of the Diocese of Brooklyn. Father Purpura, currently pastor of Our Lady of Hope in Queens and regional vicar for Queens West, will begin the role on January 30th, replacing Monsignor Stephen Aguja. The chancellor oversees church records, decrees, and advises the bishop. Father Purpura brings years of experience in canon law and diocesan leadership to the position. A federal judge in Minnesota has ordered the Department of Homeland Security to preserve all the evidence in Saturday's deadly Minneapolis shooting. State investigators say they were blocked from accessing the crime scene, raising questions about federal protocols. The ICE-involved shooting, which happened January 24th in Minneapolis, took the life of a 37-year-old nurse. Alex Pretty's death has sparked even more protests and prompted calls for accountability. The Minneapolis police chief said the feds have brought poor tactics.
It looks unprofessional. It looks very chaotic. It doesn't look like there's clear teamwork tactically to achieve the same objective. The greater issue, the greater concern is, people should be able to have an expectation that the federal government can enforce federal immigration law without these, poor tactics and really unconstitutional practice.
He went on to say that the country should be able to enforce federal law without all of this chaos. On Truth Social, President Trump speculated whether the local police were told to stay away from the scene by Democrats like Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey. Meanwhile, hundreds of Minnesotans gathered Saturday night in Minneapolis to honor Alex Pretty. Family and colleagues remembered him as compassionate, kind-hearted, and devoted to helping others, especially veterans and his community. Attendees held candles and flowers at a memorial site, marching to the spot where he was killed. The Department of Homeland Security claims that Pretty was armed with a 9mm handgun and 2 magazines when he was shot and killed by Border Patrol agents. Although Pretty had a permit to legally carry, the Department of Homeland Security has previously claimed it is unlawful for protesters or observers to bring guns to demonstrations. Pretty's death comes just 17 days after 37-year-old Renee Good was also killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. Catholic leaders have responded to the tragedy by calling for peace. Archbishop Bernard Hebda, the shepherd of St. Paul in Minneapolis, asked for prayers for Pretty and his family, saying this: "The loss of another life amidst the tensions that have gripped Minnesota should prompt all of us to ask what we can do to restore the Lord's peace. While we rightly thirst for God's justice and hunger for his peace, this will not be achieved until we are able to rid our hearts of the hatreds and prejudices that prevent us from seeing each other as brothers and sisters created in the image and likeness of God. That is as true for our undocumented neighbors as it is for our elected officials and for the men and women who have the unenviable responsibility of enforcing our laws. They all need our humble prayers." Locally in New York State, bishops have been calling on Catholics to treat newcomers with respect and dignity, following in the footsteps of the patroness of immigrants. They want you to take action and accompany migrants trying to make a better life in the United States. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has that story from Carroll Gardens, the neighborhood the saint called home.
Mother Cabrini was an immigrant who helped build New York City, the first American citizen to become a saint.
History will sometimes repeat itself, and we have gone in this country through periods of nativism. Mother Cabrini saw that firsthand, and her message is timeless.
That timeless message: welcome the stranger. It's not hers, but Christ's, which is why New York State Catholic Conference Executive Director Dennis Paust says the bishops of New York are taking a stance not based on politics, but faith.
This is really a statement of gratitude for immigrants and what they bring and have historically brought to this country, and really a call to charity and civility on the part of everyone.
The statement touches on several key areas of immigration. The bishops make it clear they want regulated immigration.
If somebody's coming to this statement making excuses for open borders and unrestricted immigration, they're going to be disappointed.
And the bishops acknowledge that some who have arrived in the United States don't belong here.
Deport criminals, sure, Get them out of here. If you've done bad, if you're a drug dealer, if you're violent, we don't want you in this country, right? That's not what's going on.
In recent months, immigration and customs enforcement officers have been seen conducting violent arrests, and detention centers are often the scene of protests. The bishops of New York say enforcement must be carried out in a humane way that does not target hardworking and law-abiding people.
The overly aggressive efforts that we've seen has been way over the top, not necessary to accomplish the goals I think that most Americans support.
And they want to see respect for the immigration and customs enforcement officers, too. The bishops say temporary protected status, which allows immigrants fleeing poverty and political violence who arrived as refugees, needs to be upheld.
And they are here legally. They did follow the rules. People can't live in this kind of fear. It's inhumane, it's unchristian, it's uncharitable, it's un-American. There is a middle ground. It should be a unifying issue for Americans, and instead it's become one of the most divisive.
As the bishops look to Mother Cabrini, they're hoping you will join them. They want all Catholics to pledge to treat every newcomer to New York with the dignity they deserve. In Carroll Gardens, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
So if you want to take the Cabrini Pledge yourself, just pull out your phone right now and scan this QR code. That'll bring you right to the pledge page where you can read it in full and sign up. Plus, you can find more resources to take further actions. We'll just give you a couple more seconds here to do that. Thanks so much for wanting to take the pledge. And before we go, do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Maybe even share some snow day pics. Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time. She's the first one at church every single day, a quiet presence behind every liturgy at St. Teresa of Avila in Prospect Heights.
I feel a fulfillment, like so happy to be in the church to help Jesus people.
How Denise Etienne makes up the pulse of the parish, Wednesday on Currents News.